And for me, the underlying principle behind everything that we do as a company is love and logic. And I'm a big believer, especially after the last 2 years of the crazy life that I've had, that, if it doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger. We need to be, like, totally authentic about our feelings and emotions, and it's so important to have hard conversations. And so mental health, mental wellness, mindset, that's kind of the and authenticity, that's the vibe of the podcast, and I wanna, like, get to know cool creatives and cool entrepreneurs and artists, talk about their music, obviously, but, like, what makes them tick? What are some of the fucking, hellacious shit that they've been through to get here? That's the vibe, man. Are you down?
Hell yeah. Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Amazing. So we'll just chat and flow. Nothing's off the table.
Cool.
Do you have anything you wanna start with? Because I have questions for you.
Oh, dude, hit me with your questions, man. I mean, I'm in like a whirlwind out here on the road. We drove for a couple days to get from LA to Texas, and then we started playing shows, and now I'm in Houston and don't know where I'm gonna be tomorrow. So I'm in a whirlwind, but I'm very interested myself, so I'm ready for any questions for sure.
Is your, fiancé traveling with you?
No, unfortunately not. I'm hoping that she can come to a couple dates on the road, but most of the dates are in very like snowy, cold places. There aren't like a ton where it makes sense for her to like leave Los Angeles and come out. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe one of the Florida dates that we have. Um,
She was like, "It's cold, I'm not coming."
we're trying to figure it out because one of the dates that we're playing is in Jacksonville, which is where she grew. She went to elementary school in Jacksonville. She hasn't been back since, and they were playing there on Valentine's Day, so it might be cool to go to that one. Um, but we haven't pulled the trigger yet. And then after that, we're in the Northeast and we're in just the North and the Midwest, and it was like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to go to like Columbus, Ohio in February,
Yeah.
and leave Los Angeles to go there.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, why don't we continue this flow? So speaking of your wife, the song "Keeper," man, it's like it's so touching, it's so heartfelt. I actually sent it to my girlfriend today after I listened to it again. I was like, "These lyrics are so good. This is, how I feel about you. Check it out." Assuming you wrote it about her?
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you for bringing that one up. We don't get to talk about that one very much. Yeah, I had that. There was just a story that this time was very pretty early on in our relationship where I had just joined a band. I just joined like a cover band, and it was the day of our first gig, and I totally forgot. It was like I think I didn't forget, my alarm didn't go off, and so I woke up at the time we were supposed to leave. And so I woke up, and we were leaving from my house. And so I woke up and I go downstairs and I'm in my underwear and the whole band is there ready to go. And I'm freaking out and I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. I run back upstairs and my girlfriend is like half asleep and she's put a single pair of underwear into an overnight bag for me because it was an overnight gig. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. I like that. That feels, she's a keeper. And I had that written down for like, I don't know. I had that written down for a couple of years before I wrote the song that ended up on the record. And yeah, I mean, and then the record tells the story. Like the actual lyrics tell the story of what was going on. I was stoned watching someone else play Halo on Twitch and falling asleep, and she was getting home from work and she had all this energy, and it was just it gave me so much energy, and I was just really, I'm very grateful to have my partner. Um, and then the song came from there, and
Yeah.
I'm really stoked about it, man.
How much does having, like, a supportive partner who believes in you help you feel inspired and invigorated with all that you do?
Well, I think a quick story that sums that up is there was a point where, we really started touring in 2024. We really started playing a lot of dates on the road, being gone for a couple weeks, being gone for over a month. And there was a point in that year where I said to her, I I've always wanted to do this, but I do understand now why people stop doing this
Mm,
because I do miss our home. We had moved in together, we have a dog and whatnot. We had a yard. We had we had a life together. And I was like, being on the road is awesome and playing the shows are awesome, but I do miss our life. I do see why people give this up, and so that they can stay home and be a part of this. And she was like, "Well, you can't do that. Like, you've been talking about doing this forever. Like, this is now that it's happening. You can't like. I don't want you to stay home and do like that. Would be nice. I miss you, but like, you got to go out and do this."
Mhm.
So yeah, so like, in the moments where I'm having a good time and she's supportive, like that's awesome. But in the moments where I'm having a bad time and she's still supportive, uh, those are really crucial moments.
Yeah. So how do you deal I mean, every artist is different. How do you personally deal with, like, being on the road and away from her?
I mean, obviously we keep in touch. Obviously, it's never been easier to keep in touch,
Yeah,
through your phone and whatnot. So, we're texting all day. We're getting phone calls in when we can. We're getting video chats in when we can. This is the longest tour we've ever done. We're at the very beginning of a 6-week tour. So we'll see how this goes. I've been gone for a month before. Usually I'm gone for like 2 to 3 weeks, which isn't that difficult to get through. But but we'll see. We'll see with this one. It definitely there's a point, a little over 2 weeks in where you start going like, I can't believe I'm still out here, man.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know if I don't know if there's like a perfect way. Like there's no way for it to just be okay. Uh that's a good thing, right? Like it's good to have something at home that you're missing.
yeah,
Um so there's no perfect way. There's no way to make up for the time that you're not together. But when you're home, I try to live that up to the fullest for sure. I try to really make sure that our life together is a priority while I'm home and
yeah,
soak all that up. Give as much as I can of myself to her. Soak up, as much of our life as I can for me. Be with my dog, be with my cat. You know, um, I think that's the best way you can do it is just try to like live in the moment while you're on the road. Take that in. Try to keep in touch when you're at home. Be at home, man. Don't
yeah.
be gone. Don't be away.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm a big believer in presence and gratitude, and I was actually just chatting with Ryan Roxy, the guitarist from Alice Cooper, and his saying that he's lived by is "enjoy the ride," and it's just so fitting. It's like, what else are you gonna do? You can't live thinking about the past or the future and what will be. You just have to enjoy the ride and keep going. And, if you recognize that you are enjoying the ride and then have that amazing person who's there on top of that, I mean, that's just beautiful.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's a great way to look at it. It's a great phrase. Enjoy the ride. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's not mine. Shout out to Roxy for that one.
Shout out to Roxy. Absolutely.
Listen, when I first started to prep all the notes for this, one of the things that for me was the most intriguing, um, was this line drawing on all the years of behind the scenes work in the industry kinda led to the band. I've been in this industry for like 20, 25 years. What is your journey? Like, how did you get here? And what is this behind the scenes stuff?
Well, I'm probably the person who's been behind the scenes the least. I really work more in the event industry. I mean, I did a lot back when I was in college, I started doing wedding bands, cover bands, and I realized how important live music was to me, how much I really enjoyed not even just being on stage, but just playing all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and so that started off career in that, I guess. I've done a lot of events in Los Angeles. I've been to a lot of crazy places. I've played for a lot of crazy people and crazy situations. Um, and I never recognized any celebrity. And you play the whole gig and you leave, and one of the bandmates is like, "Can't believe we just played for Chris Pratt or whatever." And I'm like, "How did I not recognize Chris Pratt?" Um, but I'm not like buddying obviously with Chris Pratt. I'm just having a good time playing Earth, Wind and Fire music, on stage. So that is where I'm coming from. What I bring to the band, I think is a lot of uh energetic live music focused stuff. My whole band, I've been blessed with these guys who are, and I've done other stuff. I've had music in like a Sonic commercial and stuff like that. But so I know how the industry works. I'm familiar with it. But my bandmates are pretty clued in. My bandmate Zach, who really started the band, used to work at a record label, and that was really the genesis of the band. Was he had been trying to work for a record label his whole life, while having bands on the side and while he's working at the record label. he has this great quote of, or a great story of somebody was someone needed someone to play some on guitar real quick, and Zach was like, "Oh, I'll play. I used to be a musician," and realizing that he hated that he just said I used to be a musician when he still was a musician, and quit the job of the record label and started the band. And then my bandmates Gio and Ivan, they work for another great band called Muna, as well as a bunch of other awesome bands. Um, play in the live world a lot, live and studio world. Ivan is the man. Everybody out there, you have a reason to hire Ivan for sure. He can make everything on the road happen. He makes everything happen on the road for us. All the production managing, all the stage managing, all the tour logistics, road managing. He's built studios. He's built cables. You know, he's all clued in there. So he's always coming from someone's studio on the way to rehearsal or something, or trying to
Mm,
squeeze in some other gig, flying to someplace. And then our drummer Brendan, who is on the road with us right now, but because he's playing for somebody else, is also in this insanely talented engineer and composer and producer in his own right. And he's been around the block. He's worked at some great studios and done some crazy things.
yeah.
And has an insane collection of gear. One of the craziest collections of gear I've ever seen.
So on that point, let me ask you, like, because we work with so many young artists or artists that are looking for, something new within the industry, how important do you think it is for artist success, band success to either be able to wear multiple hats or to have a knowledge or cursory knowledge of the industry itself? Like, are you further ahead because of those things?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. I think one of the things about being an artist today, it's so easy to learn a skill just on YouTube or in some other way. It's so easy to learn how to do so many different things. And the industry, I think, now kind of expects you to know a lot of those things. If you being able to produce your own records, for example, even not like even radio ready, but just in a, in a, I don't know, and just being able to produce yourself to a certain standard today has never been easier. And they kind of expect you to be able to do it. And it can be a really great asset. Um, and that's both good and bad, because it does take away a little bit of the energy that you could use for artistry. You know, being able
Mhm.
to produce records is not the same thing as being an artist. Being able to engineer, being able to road manage, all that stuff, it's not the same as being an artist. It's a completely different skill. And you got one pot of energy to get to all this stuff. Like I do the social media in our band. That's a whole skill I've had to learn. Uh, it's cool. I have more control over our image than bands used to, over our brand and like what we do and what we sound like or what we look like in social media. But that also used to be like a lot of people's jobs. Like even like this, I appreciate you, us working together. Like this is, uh, this is more what it used to be. It used to be collaboration. It used to be lots of teams working together.
Yeah,
And those teams have really, I think, condensed down. So it's definitely been helpful, but we all got to recognize, like we can all get better at stuff. We can all get new skills. We can all hustle and work harder, but you got to recognize that you got one pot of energy for everything. And you do got to be an artist. You do got to live life and assess, feel your emotions and assess your emotions and turn that into art. And that
yeah.
takes, you're pulling from the same pot of energy as you would for anything else.
That makes
So yeah, yeah,
no,
it's
that makes
helpful and
perfect
it's a
sense.
burden. It's both.
That makes perfect sense, Brian. Like, I totally agree that like an artist's job ultimately, above all else, is to create the art, right? And you have to be inspired and then feel compelled to do it. So outside of all the stuff that each of you bring to the table and do with each other, you're also, I believe, linked up with Secret Friends Music Group right now.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
so how important is it to have, someone helping you along this journey, whether it's a label or a team or a publicist? Like, talk to me a bit about your ecosystem and the help that you guys need to achieve goals. Because I think a lot of people think that I can do everything and I don't have the money or I don't want to spend the money. Or I need to get signed and that's the only answer. But those are not all true and they're not all wrong. Like, what's your opinion on it?
I think the word team is the important word to focus on. I used to, before I was in good terms, I had my own project that I was completely in charge of. I wrote all the music. I could write whatever I wanted. I had ultimate control over everything. And I got to this point where I had, I was learning about what you really need to do to release a song with the music videos and the art and the PR and everything you need to do to drop a song. And I got to this point where I had this single ready to go that had all the materials that I had learned that you need at that point. And and this is right when Good Terms was just starting to get serious about forming, about becoming a thing. And so I got to right to this point where I was supposed to drop it, and I looked over at Good Terms and I was like, there are like a couple guys in this who are all have their heads on straight, who all can do this. This was so much freaking work. And I just dropped it. And I not dropped it. I just quit. I didn't ever put out the song. I was like, screw this. I'm all Good Terms now. Uh, because I thought that I could, recognize that the team was so important. And then we started adding more members to our team. We started adding secret friends. We started adding Casey from Lesser Matters. We added our booking agent. And every time we did that, I mean, it's like in a video game when you unlock a new party character or party member or something, like you can just it gets easier to accomplish more tasks. You can delegate, the team can talk and brainstorm and come up with better and better plans. And then one person can go achieve that thing. One person can go achieve that thing. I might even have time to write some freaking songs now. Like the team is very important. And I don't think it necessarily matters so much. A lot of people I think are aiming for a certain team member, and I don't think it really matters what team member you get. You just kind of wave your flag until you attract the people who want to fly your flag with you.
Mhm.
And the bigger the team gets, the easier it gets and the better it gets. But team
Absolutely.
is the word, yeah.
So, just continuing on what you were just talking about with the teamwork and whatnot makes perfect sense. I agree. I think that you need to have a team where art ends, business begins. They overlap, but they're very separate. And it's not easy to take off the artist hat, focus on the business, and then still be able to dive into those creative moments when you have them. In your opinion, how important is it to be signed? And if it is important, um, well, I guess whether it's important or not, how does an independent artist attract that attention now, in
Mm.
your opinion?
I don't think it's I think the people that we work with on our record label are fantastic and have made such a big difference in our band. I don't think that being signed is important necessarily. I feel like if we were working with them in some other context,
Mm,
they would still make such a big difference because of who they are, what they do, what they've done. So that's what I meant when I said earlier that people are searching for, they're shooting for they're shooting to get signed, they're shooting to get a booking agent, they're shooting for whatever. You should shoot for something because you should aim before you
mhm,
fire. But when we were trying to get a booking agent and we got a record label, and we were like, okay, we didn't really think we needed a record label, but stuff started changing as soon as we started working with them. So I think it's just having the team, and to attract that team. Maybe for you it is, maybe your goals are very being signed specific, or maybe your goals are just however specific they are. I think that the biggest thing that you can do is uh, just be consistent output. It's the biggest thing that we've learned over the last couple years. Is Yeah, both words super important because the consistency, you got to figure out something that's going to work for you. It doesn't
mhm,
need to be every day, all day. Just something consistent, something that you won't burn out on. To reference our album name, something that you won't give up on, something that you won't miss 1 week and then decide screw it for the next 3 weeks and then have to start over again in a month. Just pick something that you can do, and then something that you think is high quality, the standards that you want, your full vision.
yeah,
No disclaimers, uh, no compromises on your vision, so that the people that you're attracting are the right people. You don't want to do if you do something that isn't artistically true,
mhm,
you're going to attract someone who thinks that that's the artist you want to be, and they're going to have the tools to help you be that artist. And then in a little while, y'all are going to be really unhappy
yeah,
when your goals are not aligned. So yeah, putting out things that are true to you in a consistent fashion that teaches everyone that you are going to continue to show up. You're not going to flake out on them. I think that's what makes people turn their heads and keep turning their heads and eventually be like, I like that.
I totally agree, and I think authenticity is so important. Like, what do you do and your bandmates do to stay true to yourself and not, like, listen to trends or what other people are saying and just wake up and crack a beer or have a coffee and just be like, "This is the fucking song I wanna make."
Well, all of us are pretty hard-headed type A. We could kind of all front our own creative projects, which is its own thing that like we have to work through. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for everybody, but that's what we got. Um, so we probably aren't inclined to do that kind of thing anyway, because
Yeah.
we all have a vision that we're trying to live out. And the challenge for us is to do it together, is to,
Mhm.
marry each other's visions and whatnot. Um, but there's also like what anytime someone wants to do a trendy thing, just to try it and do the trendy thing to see if that works. There's someone on the other side who's like so disgusted by that, that it just ends up pulling the ship back to the center line.
Hell yeah. So, going back to my point earlier about, the label,
Mhm.
what can a band do to attract attention or even just break through to a larger audience? You said consistency and authenticity of their art. What does consistency look like for you? Is it like content, like a single every month? Is it a social media post regularly? Is it a combination of everything? What's your definition?
Well, okay. Well, so for me, I mean, we all have different roles, which I
Yeah.
think is a big way we're able to be so consistent. Is that there's a different way that the element of consistency applies to everybody. I do the social media. I have gone through various routines. I've done one post a day. I've done two posts a day. I've done one post a day on this platform and five posts a day on this platform. I've done it all. And now I'm on whatever I'm on now, which I think is the healthiest thing I've ever done. Um,
Not
which,
at all.
yeah, so whatever. See, I've got, the important thing is that, I figured out something that I stick to. Even if I change it, I'm changing it consciously. It's not happening to me. I'm not burning out and just making it up as I go along. I'm assessing when it's getting to be too much for me. I'm assessing when it's feeling like it's not enough for my goals, and constantly trying to revise and figure out what's going to work for me.
Mhm.
And then I'm social media. I'm pretty much working on social media almost every day. There are, I try to take a weekend. I try to have days that are lighter than other days. I try to have prep days, where you batch a lot of stuff, and then you just have post days, whatnot. Um, and that's year round. Like I take the holidays off maybe, but I'm always going. And then my bandmate Ivan is in charge of the touring logistics. So, he's obviously consistency for him. He doesn't really have to do anything unless we're going on tour.
Mhm.
And then he's a monster. Then he's up early, he's up late, getting everything done, making sure that consistently we are getting to shows on time, we're leaving on time, not things aren't breaking down. All of the prep that he does, that's his whole role. But all of the prep he does to make sure that the band announces shows and then it plays all those shows, it doesn't miss them. And all those shows are good. They don't have tech problems, they don't have voice problems, they don't have whatever. Um, so it's this big system of all of us with different, methods of consistency, kind of turning into this thing that I can't control the whole thing of what
Yeah.
consistency is, but I can control my part. And I know that my guys are going to control their parts. And I would say we hold each other accountable, but we don't really ever have to like sit down and say, hey man, this thing wasn't good enough. That never happen.
Mhm.
Everyone's working their butt off. Um, and then, especially when it comes to like putting out music, now it's different. When you get signed, you don't necessarily control, when your music gets put out. Um, that becomes a much more collaborative effort with the label. And there have been times where they have said, "Hey, we were going to do the record at this point, but we're not going to do the record now. We're going to do a single that we're going to do the record later." And we were just like, okay, and we need to prepare these materials, whatnot, and hey, that's his consistency. You know, he's
Yeah.
deciding what's going to be consistent for that. So before then, when we were doing things DIY, I mean, we were definitely doing the following the school of thought that, you know, the 6 to 8 weeks between releases and whatnot. We put out an album in 2021 called Turning Point, where we did about every 2 months we did a single, and then we took some time off of releasing to make the next record. But we played some shows. You know,
Mm,
we kept up that Good Terms is doing something.
yeah.
Um, so even if it's not releasing, there's a Good Terms event to go on. Uh, and there was also a period where we burned out, and you know you know, things slowed down. We had to pick them back up again, and that was a big learning point. That was a big,
Mm.
probably a thing every band has to go through.
So that makes perfect sense. And, what you've, I guess, spurred in my mind is that the consistency is not just in the output that the public sees, right? Like the announcement of shows or tours and the content, but it's the continued consistency behind the scene on all the different tasks that allow for the larger picture to remain consistent. Makes perfect sense. You mentioned burnout. Let's pivot. Let's pivot for a
Yeah,
second.
man.
I'm going to talk about mindset and tenacity. Burnout has is a double entendre because not only is it talking about you guys and getting burnt out on touring and all the hard work, but you literally had your house burned down.
I
So,
sure did, man. Like a month after the album came out, not even like 2 weeks after the album came out.
well, that is the good Lord just dropping stuff to teach you some kind of a lesson that whatever it is. But what was your like mindset like before and after that event? How have you changed with something so heavy happening?
That's a big question, brother.
That's what I do.
uh, before that event, before the fire, seems like so long ago. Uh, like it just seems like so long ago. I was so before the fire. A lot of things are going on right before the fire. We had the album coming up. We were doing exciting things. We went to Canada and played. We went to Vancouver and played with Musora. We opened for Hawthorne Heights. I quit smoking pot. I smoked pot every day for 10 years. And
Nice.
on Hawthorne Heights, I realized that I might have CHS, which if you smoke pot and have a lot of stomach problems, look into that. It'll fix your stomach problems. You'll stop smoking pot. But so I did that. And so it was exciting and stressful. And I was just holding on for dear life. And I was trying to make sure this album release was going well from my end on social media. I was trying to not freaking smoke any pot. Um, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then when my house burned down, it all had to stop, right? I mean, I had to be like, okay, like, please don't like stop it. Like I had Zach take over on social media for me, which, I'm very grateful for. The team kept working, while I was gone, but I had to take a few weeks to figure out what the next step was going to be with my fiance. Um, and I've just been building my life back ever since. And uh, some things are very different. There's a different kind of person I think I want to be, especially like with quitting pot. It was very difficult before because I would come home from a gig and I would sit on the couch and have dinner and watch TV with my fiance, and I'd be like, "Dang, this is about the time I would get stoned."
Mm,
And there were so many little things like that throughout the day. I had my morning coffee or whatever. I'd sit down to write a song. I'd be like, "It's about to be about the time I get stoned. Like this is weird." But then when my house burned down, nothing. There was none of that. There was no routines. There was no doing any of the same stuff. Like everything was brand new, and and I had a chance. The desire, the ache, the itch was way subdued because everything was so different.
yeah.
And I knew there were kind of some specific things about how I wanted to be different. I've always been kind of a klutz. I've always not really cared about material items, which is cool, but I also like I had a lot of shitty things. I had a lot of broken things. I let things break. I didn't fix them. And now I was getting everything in my life was new. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'd like to be a little more precious about these things, be a little more intentional about
Yeah.
the way I treat these things. Yeah. Um, and I like to think that that kind of bled over into everything, the way I treat my time with my fiance. I think I was already trying to do that, but we were already we were already very close. We've been together for a long time. Um, but we're just, we're definitely building our whole life together
Mhm.
again. Um,
There's
yeah.
a
So
there's an expression that life you'll either change by choice or force, and most of the time it's by force. Do you think that, like, you were on the precipice of change, but, like, maybe you were having difficulty getting over that threshold, and so life was like, "We're gonna throw you a curveball here," and, like, force you into that next chapter of you?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I don't. All people. I assume a lot of people resonate with this. That I've always had ideas, and I still do, about
Mhm,
ways the people I wanted to be, ways that could be better. And I've been having this thought with pot too, of like I didn't really have any issue with. I've been in a I've been having a good time with pot. Like, I've been in periods where I'd definitely smoked too much and smoked at the wrong time. And
mhm,
I'd have been having this period of time for the last couple of years where like I wasn't getting high before work. I wasn't getting high before any good terms thing. It was like everything was in its right place. But I was thinking, when's this gonna stop? Like, am I gonna be like this forever?
yeah,
Like that, I don't know if that's really what I want to do. And and then life gave me an out. And as soon as I read about the CHS, CHS involves like crazy amounts of vomiting for hours. It's You end up in the hospital. It's a very big deal. And I was like, okay, well, if I do that one time, that could
mhm,
wreck my voice. And that's what I'm doing. I'm out here to sing. So I quit cold turkey. I was high when I read about it, and I was like, I guess I was like, okay, that's it.
mhm.
Um, so I do think I was looking for an out. I actually had a song I was working on called "Looking for a Reason to Change." Uh, that I wrote. I was working on right when I quit. Um,
That's
so I
amazing.
yeah, I totally think that what you just said is true.
I, uh, I actually smoked just like you. I smoked more pot than God when I was younger, and it was way too much, and, I now live a life thinking like, "Man, I wasted so much time," so I'm, like, working twice as hard, twice as smart as I probably normally would to make up for lost time, but I also quit cold turkey. I mean, I just had a horrible experience one night, and no one else
Hmm.
that I was with did, so I knew it wasn't the weed, it was me, and I thought that maybe that was, like, a rarity or a one-off. I tried it again, the same thing happened. I was like, "Something here is telling me to stop. I need to stop. I've
Hmm.
put in too many years of this." And it was a good thing,
Hmm.
like, I'm totally different now than I was then, and it's kind of funny that it's burnout. So it's like a triple entendre when you think about it now too, because it's like literally putting out the burn, right? So the
Totally,
album
man.
means a lot for you.
And I had a bunch of songs on the record. We called them stoner emo songs, but I have a bunch of songs on the record that are about pot too. Like Cough was all about realizing that I didn't have another way to cope with the stressful life events other than getting high.
Yeah.
Blurry was all about uh making just being wrong and making mistakes and
Mm,
being high at the wrong time is one of those. High Right Now is another song about just using pot to cope with everything. And one of the lines in Blurry was uh why am I blanking on it? I'm literally singing it on tour. Uh every night I wish that I was sober. I've gotten high every day this year. And I remember writing it. I wrote that like forever ago. And I remember thinking like, I wonder when by the time this song comes out, like if that'll be over if I'll be sober.
mm,
And it wasn't. The song came out in 2024, in early 2020 or August 2024. And I was like, oh, I guess not. I'm still here doing this.
yeah.
And now it's cool to look back and be like, but now I'm here. Now we're out here, man. It's all over.
Isn't it wild how, like, we can have a certain level of ability, or we think we have a certain level of ability, right? Like coping with stress, smoking weed at the end of the day, having a drink, whatever it is. And then something massive will happen, like losing a house in a fire. And then your resilience levels up. And then you realize, oh, fuck, like I've been through that. Now I no longer need this. I've leveled up to, the next level of the video game of life.
Yeah,
The challenges get bigger and stronger, but you also know now that I can handle that, so maybe I can handle the next thing that's coming without the need for these things.
absolutely, man.
So, hell yeah, brother, is what I think you would say.
Hell yeah, brother.
So now that you've, experienced the burnout and, this huge change, what are you doing to mitigate it in the future, Like, are you waking up every day and you doing yoga? Is it, being with your fiancé? Like, what do you
It's
do to
it's
stay
funny.
mentally fit?
It's funny. I did yoga every day for the last couple years when I was smoking, kind of during all the years that everything was pretty good. And I don't do yoga now. And it was a great time. I should pick it back up, but I have other healthy habits. Um, yeah, uh, I've always been okay. Well, part of my pot thing is,
Yeah.
I've always been a very habitual guy. I've always been a very, when I find something I like, I do it every day. I do it all the time. So I would say I'm really not prone to burnout in general because I'm always falling into things that I can do every day.
Mhm.
Um, so the biggest thing in my life that I'm going to burn out on is probably good term social media. Um, and I have, like I said, I'm constantly trying to assess what's too much for me, what's not enough for my goals, and revise and adjust and find a way to meet both of those needs.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I think that constant check in with, is this too much? Am I able to do this? Is this getting the job done? Is there another way that I could be doing this? And just quick check-ins, quick assessments, to make sure that it's working for me. But it also like kind of works out well for me.
Mhm.
And I usually know very early on, when I'm like, this is not going to be good, and I probably have like 3 more weeks of this. I need to figure out a way to I got to figure out a way to make this work.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm pretty proactive about that. I think, just because I like doing the thing every day. I don't like big change. I like doing the same thing every day, so I like finding the thing that's going to work for me every day.
Yeah. Well, you said something really important there, and it kind of goes back to earlier when we were saying, like, living in the moment, enjoy the ride.
Hmm.
Checking in with yourself is being present, right? And it's in
Hmm.
those
Hmm.
moments of presence that we can truly quiet life and ask ourselves, like, how am I feeling? Am I feeling like, is this social media shit actually like gonna cause me to freak out on a bandmate or whatever? You can mitigate problems by checking in. So it sounds like you practice presence regularly to make sure that you are staying on path.
And I probably learned to focus on that while I was doing the meditation, learning to be present. Because I definitely spent the early years of my, not even before the pot smoking, just being a young person,
Mhm.
um, just in my head and in the future and in the past and everywhere, but right in the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's so much better to be right in the moment. There's so much good shit right in front of you
Mhm.
to appreciate.
The
And if there's bad shit right in front of you, it's good to notice that and figure out that you should do something about it.
Totally. I mean, if you can see a car crash coming, then it's easier to avoid it, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, these conversations are so much fun and they're so, good to my development and how I think and how I shape my reality, my future. Um, I've never experienced this, but I'm curious from your perspective. Like you travel around the world, you see a whole bunch of different cities, different people, and you have actual people coming up to you rather than me booking an interview with you. You have people coming up to you saying, like, dude, I was going to kill myself and this song changed my life, or my partner and I were going to break up and I heard this track and things changed. How much does, how much do the stories in these like moments with artists change or reshape how you think and how you live?
It is such a cool is not a deep enough word to encompass the experience of that, because people will come up and tell me their reactions to a song like Cough, or their reaction to a song like Progress, and what
Yeah.
those songs mean to them in their life. And oftentimes it makes my experience seem so trivial. Like the experience that led to the song seems so like small and trivial and like dumb in comparison to what they're going through and how they're using the song. And it's humbling is a word for it. Um, but also like it's very, again, cool is not a deep enough word.
Mm,
Cool to get the opportunity to make something like that. Um, because okay, Progress, uh, people have all sorts of stories that they come up and tell me about the things that they're trying to work on, the things that they're getting past, the thing that they're past and trying to stay on the bandwagon, or whatever it is. Um, and they talk about that song and what it mean to them, and they talk about my house burning down because my house burned down and the song came out 5 months later. But I wrote the song in January 2020. The world was so different in January 2020. I was
yeah.
very different. Like it's just been sitting in a folder. The band has always liked it, and we just like never got around to working on it until right then. And I was just a 24, 25-year-old guy at the dog park writing this song, kind of stream of conscious, just about just about being a normal guy, just about just trying to not smoke too much, trying to make sure I get Christmas presents for everybody, make it, whatever the heck is in the song, trying to not eat like shit, trying to take care of myself, trying to be a good person, be there for my fiance, whatnot. Um, just trivial stuff.
Wow.
And then the song comes out, and Good Terms had been born and done a lot of things, and the song gets a big platform, and to reach these people, and these people use it in this way that I could never have imagined. I always thought the song was catchy and true to me. I thought people would like it, but I never really thought about someone going through something more intense than what I went through, uh, using the song,
Mhm.
in ways that I recognize, in ways that I've used other artists' songs with what I'm going through. Um, so it's definitely, in regards specifically to songwriting and specifically to Good Terms and what we're doing, um, it's definitely like changed the scope of like, if I can if I can try to do stuff that does that, like I'm not trying to save the world, I'm not nothing like that, but like if
Mhm.
I can just broadcast my trivial experiences to the world, in a way that the world can use them for their not as trivial experiences, that that feels like a meaning of life purpose level,
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, kept me going. I'm really glad that I've, this band that we've stuck it out to get to this point, because, some bands you just play local shows, and no one, your art doesn't really get a shot, even if it might be good, better than my art, Uh, but we've gotten to get to this point where we're getting to do that.
Yeah, good for you, man. It's funny, you made me think of an expression again that, everything is everything and everything is nothing. So, like, the craziest thing, your house might burn down, and to you, it changes your world, and to someone else, house might burn down, and they're like, "Whatever, I got 6 more houses." So, like, everything is so subjective, and yeah, I've been divorced twice, or will be divorced twice, and to some people, they could never fathom them, and then to other people, there's like, "Oh, my 6th marriage," like, whatever. It's it's so important just to take stock of what you have and to communicate, because that little moment that you had might be the biggest moment to someone else, and, I think that's a beautiful thing, just sharing these things, and if you take something from it, great. Let me ask you a couple more questions,
Mhm.
and then we'll kind of, wrap up. So, speaking of writing, you talked about the band. Reaching, the breakdown at the end is just so brutal, and then also Mask, that song just absolutely rips, and they're so unlike the other songs on the album because they're just so fucking heavy.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
when you guys write, do you ever go in with, like, a sonic vision or intention, or do you just let things come about organically?
Well, I'll say for Burnout, we intentionally tried to push the boundaries. We were coming off our first record, Turning Point, which is just the sound of the band trying to exist. And just, we're gonna make a band that's like this. Let's try to make 11 songs and do the thing and make this exist in the world and be legitimate. And with Burnout, we were really trying to take advantage of, okay, well, now we're a band. What kind of band really are we going to be? We can be more than, we like a lot of more kinds of music than just what Turning Point did. We know we still want to be a pop punk, post hardcore emo kind of band, but we have a lot of different kind of influences and stuff that we like. Um, so with this record, we really tried to push the limits. And Mask and Reaching were definitely made deeply into the conversation of let's stretch the limits. We had already started stretching the limits, and we were like, okay, cool. What if we do a song like Mask? What if we do a thing like Reaching? We'd had a heavy one on Turning Point. We had a heavy song on that record, but with Mask, uh, I remember Zach showing me the riff and being like, oh yeah, this is real, dude. This is incredible. Um, and yeah, we knew we wanted to do a heavy one with that one. With Reaching, it's funny with Reaching, it's similar. Zach wrote both those songs. And Zach started with, he had the breakdown riff to Reaching, and he wrote the entire rest of the song, the pop punk song, just to justify that part of Reaching, which I think is so funny because it feels like it should be the opposite. Um, I think he might have had the chorus of Reaching separately and was like, that I can make that into the beginning of a song that will turn into this riff.
Mhm.
But he knew he wanted like a pop punk song that would then go into this, more drain, hardcore, metalcore style thing. But we were trying to push the limits. We're trying to figure out
Cool.
what we were going to do. I think in the future, we would like to hone in, double down on the things that we feel like really resonated. Still keep the musicality, still keep the depth. But Burnout has such a wide spectrum. I think we'd like to have maybe more of a deep focusing in the future. But
Yeah.
we're artists. We're just doing what we do. We're just trying to figure it out.
As an artist, when you're unable to spend time creating, you feel blank.
Are you telling me to complete that sentence?
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of different things it could be, man. Uh, because time off can be good too, but the wrong kind of time off can be awful. Um,
You're unable to express yourself, you're unable to create. How do you
if you say
feel?
unable in that context, contained is not doesn't have the emotional connotation that I want.
Trapped?
Trapped is good. Um, I mean, bursting at the seams.
Mm,
It's not really, it doesn't really fit in the sentence, but that's like the image that I want to give is that
so
this is
for
about to
y
blow, man.
yeah, so for you, like, expression and the artistic creation that you guys have is just so important to your overall well-being.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that is the only reason anyone should do what we're doing is because you just have to. I don't know, man. Like, there are a lot of times I wish that I could just have a regular job and just have a regular life and just enjoy things. Um, but I can't. I can't. I keep having ideas of songs and how the band should be, and so does everyone else in the band. And so we're gonna do this, and now we're here. That's what it is.
Okay, so
It's not a choice.
I lied to you, I have one more just because 'cause I'm
Oh, you're
curious.
good, brother.
The littlest things, like we said, could be the biggest things and vice versa. I really wanna know what "Hell yeah, brother" means to you. Where does it come from? Is it just WWE, old school wrestling fan? Is it something bigger? Is it embody an emotion within the band?
Man, it's one of those things. It's one of those things that I can't really explain. The Everyone has a thing that they think of when they hear the phrase "Hell yeah, brother," and there's a
Mhm,
little bit of, I feel like we're trying to take it back. Um, you know, I feel like the answer to this question would be that we believe in we have really strong values, and that we believe in, equality for everyone, what our country should be doing, the ways that our country should be dealing with what it's got on its plate right now.
mhm.
Uh, which is that it should calm the fuck down and, like, fuck ICE and free Palestine. Like, we should not be supporting these absolutely insane atrocities that are going on in the world right now. And we have so much power at our fingertips to uh, enact positive change on the world, which is not necessarily the values that you associate with "Hell yeah, brother," but you should, because that's what we mean.
Wow.
Um, but it's also a vague emotional thing, you know, as much as it's like, as much as, uh, as much as I just went on a crazy, like, political uh, rant right there, like, it's also just "Hell yeah, brother," man. It's also just a beer and an above ground pool and a summer day.
Yep.
It's positivity. It's being a dude. It's being a good dude.
Yeah.
It's being whoever you are. Um, all are welcome. You know, we just want to have a good time. I want you to have a good time, no matter who you are.
That makes perfect sense. I'm a big believer that, left, right, center, it doesn't matter. That at the end of the day, most of us want that beer in that pool and just to be left alone. And we as a society, politicians be damned, we need to be on good terms.
Name of the you said the name of the movie. Amazing, dude.
I did.
I
Listen,
mean, there's a
I
reason that
re
phrase works for us, right?
hell yeah, brother. I really
Kick ass.
appreciate your time today. I'm stoked for you guys. You've got, the deluxe album out now, and you're going to be touring for a little bit. At this point, I just want to thank you for chatting with me and pass it over to you for one last word of wisdom to whoever's watching out there. Whatever you want, could be inspirational, could be something else. You do you.
Oh man. Um, buy Good Terms merch at no. No, man. Oh man, there's a lot going on right now, and it's like I'm on a pop punk tour right now. I'm like, we are doing, like, this is such a big step for us. We're having such a good time. It's like the dreams come true. Like, all
Mhm.
that those kind of elements are happening. Um, and the context for it is just insane. Um, you gotta. I'm gonna say the next dumb thing. Uh, I've been saying this other positive phrase, which is "live your truth, king." Which is probably what I should have just said when you said what's a word of wisdom. But uh, you got to go out there and do you, man. I know that feels like an empty phrase, but like I said, we're doing the band thing because we just gotta. We keep having the song ideas. We keep having we can't have a regular job. We have to. This is the way it has to be for us.
Mhm.
Um, and if you can find the way that what it is for you, which it might not be fun, you might find that you have visions of ways to, really tangibly help other people, or you just have a vision for something unrelated to exist in this world. Um, if you can find that, man, uh, I think that is probably the source of the most positive change that you can give to the world. So live your truth, King.